Nancy Pelosi and House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler have so far been holding off increasing pressure from the Democratic caucus to hold an impeachment inquiry. President Trump says he knows why.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think Nancy Pelosi has held off her impeachment caucus?
Because I think she feels that I will win much easier. I mean, I've been told that by many people.
Do you think impeachment's good politics for you?
I think I win the election easier, but, you know, I'm not sure that I like having it. Look, I did nothing wrong. I was spied on. What they did to me was illegal. It was illegal on the other side. I did nothing wrong.
Let's bring in our legal panel. Keisha Hebben and Robert Schalk are both defense attorneys and former prosecutors. So, Keisha, will Dems ultimately get to the point of impeachment? And is impeachment a case the Dems can win?
I would have to say no, for two reasons. One, the Senate is controlled by the Republicans right now, and whether there's going to be an impeachment will be ultimately up to them, because they are the ones who would interpret what's considered to be a high crime and misdemeanor. And also, I think it's too close to the end of his term, and I think they're better off focusing on campaigning for this next election and putting their energy towards areas that the majority of people do agree on with them.
And Bob, how do you see it? Do you think the Dems have a stronger legal case against the president if they let the multiple investigations into alleged nefarious activity continue?
Yeah, I mean, as we know, there are still ongoing investigations here in New York in the Southern District. The New York State Attorney General's office has said that they've launched an inquiry into the Trump Foundation. You have Mayor de Blasio saying that these recent allegations of potential sexual assault, if a case comes across with the NYPD investigate, they're saying, yes, I think they're better off with those investigations where there's ongoing criminal investigations going on, and then playing it up that and focusing on the election.
In the Keisha, there is talk that the internal DOJ report on the origin of the Russia probe could highlight potential bias by FBI agents who were at the heart of the investigation. What would that DOJ report have to spell out to support the president's claims of a hoax, attempted coup, etc.?
Right. Well, it would have to show that there was more interviewing that would possibly, I guess, would be show against the president. It would have to show that the investigators were on a witch hunt, as he says. And, you know, even with that being said, if it's discovered that there is bias, I still don't think that it's going to affect the outcome of whether he's impeached or whether impeachment proceedings are going to take place. I think the better option would be to wait until he's no longer the president and pursue criminal proceedings.
Do you want to add to that, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, what's the hardest thing to prove as a lawyer? That someone's biased, because no one's going to admit to it. You need to get internal memorandum. You're going to need, obviously, electronic communications, and we have the secrecy of the grand jury and the Mueller report. All we have is the report. There are still all those protections of secrecy that we're never going to be able to unpack and see. So I think it's going to be very hard to navigate that field of this is a hoax and everyone's biased against me.
Well, speaking of the speaking of the Mueller report, ranking member of the House Intel Committee, Congressman Adam Schiff, was on this morning with Jake Tapper talking about plans in place right now to get Special Counsel Mueller to appear before Congress. Let's listen.
It's not clear that he will refuse to come in voluntarily. We are negotiating what the conditions of that appearance might be. But yes, we are running out of time. It's my hope that we'll reach a final conclusion. Either he's going to come in voluntarily, or we're going to have to subpoena him. I hope that we'll reach that decision this week, because we want to have him come in during July, and I think that's going to be the case.
So, Bob, how crucial is Mr. Mueller's testimony legally and also for the sanity of the country? And also, will Mr. Mueller be under any legal restrictions that would prevent him from being more direct and clear about his potential findings or his findings of potential obstruction of justice?
I think Mueller's been very clear. He does not want to testify. He stated, my report speaks for itself. I'm not going to say anything other than what's in the report. He said that the words I used in that report were very calculated and very chosen words. So I think him testifying, I think many people want it to happen for the country to kind of lift this veil of, that's, you know, this dark cloud that's hanging over Washington right now. But I don't think it's going to give as many answers, because, again, he's already said what he's going to say, and it's in my report.
Right, and we as attorneys know that you can't make a witness say what you want them to say, and he's an attorney. So, like Bob just said, he stated that everything that's in his report is what he would testify to. So I don't think it's going to really make a big difference, and I think he's going to comply and testify, but he's just going to reiterate what was already in his report.
Is it possible, though, sticking to his word, and of course to the letter of the law, but to say it the same thing in a different way that may be more accessible to the people of America to understand?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can, as lawyers, we speak in legalese, and I think some of the terms that he's using, he's kind of dancing around things, what I did say, what I didn't say, and, you have an opportunity where congressmen and senators are going to be able to ask very pointed questions. What did you mean by this? Did you mean this? Did you mean that? I think, yes, that would definitely help in some of the American people understanding where he was coming from and the legal decisions that he made. But again, I don't think it's going to change his overall opinion with regards to his report.
No, not looking for a change of opinion, just some language that Americans, regular people can understand. That's why I say for the sanity of this, so we can try to understand, we, the collective American public.
Right, and I think he did leave some ambiguity in there and vagueness to set this situation up where if the president was to be prosecuted after his term is over. Because everyone wants to know, well, he never said the president did X, Y, and Z, but he said he never cleared him of certain things.
Right, he did. That's true. Okay, well, Keisha Haben, Bob Schalk, we have to leave it there. Good to see both of you.
Good to see you too,
Thank you. All right, Eric.